Hey everyone, AngryHoneyBadger here. It's time for us to take a look at another champion build video. Today we're going to be playing as Vi and in the jungle, of course, because that is where it makes sense to play here because she is pretty much amazing there and it's all about those ganks. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at Vi today. What we're going to do is talk about her items and her masteries, her runes, her abilities. We're going to talk about everything and kind of just get you a setup to maybe if you want to try out some Vi in the jungle. So we started over at a red buff and then we went and we took our blue buff. Pretty standard stuff there. And then we usually start to try to look for a gank. But let's go ahead and cover what we're going to do with our abilities early on so we know what we're talking about in this build. First, we do have our passive, which is Blast Shield. What happens here is basically when Vi activates an ability, which is going to damage an enemy, she gains a shield equal to 10% of her maximum health for 3 seconds. It's on an 18-second cooldown. It is reduced, though, as the game continues. Pretty awesome passive, actually. It's pretty helpful and can save your life quite a lot and secure kills, too, when you're getting into fights and you're getting really, really low. So that's your passive. Your Q ability is your Vault Breaker. You charge your fist, and then you can cast this. As you charge it, it will slow your movement speed, though, by 15%. You will do increased damage the further the distance you land it. So we're going to go ahead and just dive here a little bit onto the Annie. I am actually going to die, but Caitlyn gets a kill, and that is actually going to be good for her. So, and picking up the assist for me also is pretty helpful. Nobody gets the buffs that I had, so we're not worried about that. But that's your Vault Breaker. It will deal damage. We're going to put a point into this at level 3, and we'll talk about maxing in a second. There's a few different routes that people do on that. Now, at level 1, what you do is you put a point into your W ability, and that is, of course, your denting blows. Every third attack on the same target is going to deal a percentage damage of its maximum health as physical damage. It also is going to have its armor reduced then, and you're going to get an increase in attack speed for the next 4 seconds. So that is your W. That's why we take it at level 1, so it helps us clear while we're in the jungle. Very helpful and very important. And then there is your E ability. We'll put a point into that at level 2. That's your excessive force. This is going to cause your next attack to deal bonus damage, and it's going to also deal damage to the enemies behind it in kind of a cone shape. You charge a new punch every certain amount of time. It changes through the game as you max it out. And you can hold up to 2 charges at once. So you can have 2 of those at your disposal. It helps clear minion camps really well in the jungle. Now, as for maxing out, I've seen this done a bajillion different ways. If you want more damage on those ganks with the Q, you can do that. Obviously, you can max out your excessive force second if you want to, just get the cooldown on it even faster, which helps with clear times in the jungle. Also is decent damage too, so you can do that as well. Here we're going to come in on Ziggs. We're going to go ahead and miss him, unfortunately. We're going to just use the ultimate, which we'll talk about in 1 second, and we will be able to secure the kill. Nidalee was not paying attention at the beginning of that gank. He will kill me. Once again, another one of those 1-for-1s, but as Vi, if Vi gets kills early, she gets ahead, and if she gets ahead, it allows her to buy other items, and we'll talk about that in a second. But let's finish off with that ultimate, which is the Assault and Battery. He missed, obviously, or I missed my Q ability, which was that Vault Breaker, but we used the Assault and Battery, obviously, to get caught up to Ziggs as he was fleeing. And what that's going to do is it's going to chase down a target. It's going to knock them up for 1.25 seconds. It's going to deal physical damage. And if any other characters are in the way, it is going to knock them out of the way and deal damage to them as well. So here we're going to just go ahead and jump in and dive. Renekton is tanking this. He's going to leave tower so he does not die, and I will pick up the kill, and we'll get work done. Vi's a really good ganker, so don't be afraid to keep showing up to lanes and using your Vault Breaker to get in people's face. It is very, very, very easy to pick up kills with Vi. So, and assists, not just kills. Okay, so basically we're going to max out your denting blows second or third. Typically second. It just really comes down to personal preference. I know I say that in every video, but it really is. I mean, if you can justify it for what you do, that's what you're going to do, and that's fine. We are going to allow it. Now, as for the build, we're going to go ahead and talk about that a little bit. We picked up the Spirit of the Ancient Golem as our first item, and we're working towards Ninja Tabi boots, and we get the Tabi, obviously, because we don't need the Merc Treads. We have Tenacity built into the Spirit of the Ancient Golem. Really, really good item on Vi. Now, a lot of people like to get Spirit of the Elder Lizard. It's not a terrible choice. but you don't really need it on Vi. She does a lot of damage anyways, and if you get ahead with Vi, as we are in this game, I would consider this quote-unquote ahead. I mean, we're only 2-2-2. I mean, we're not really super ahead, but if you do fine with your ganks and you have decent gold income at this point in the game, you can build damage, and we're going to be able to do that. And what we're going to do with this, I think actually, who was doing this the other day in LCS? I believe it was I Will Dominate. And he played Vi, and he went for the Trinity Force, and he was mentioning how once you get the Trinity Force on Vi, you can actually not only go in, disrupt, and cause problems, but you can solo any of the carries by yourself and not worry about damage because you're still beefy enough, but you have enough damage with the Trinity Force to then basically chase down anybody you want. And I completely agree. That's exactly how I actually build Vi. It works really, really well. So we're going to be building towards the Trinity Force incredibly early. Not incredibly early, but we're going to get it as our next item. So we're going to start it off. If we would be falling behind, though, typically, what we would want to do is not focus on getting the damage. We'd want more survivability because in the long run, Vi is really good with those initiations, so she'll need survivability as she will literally drag herself into the middle of a team fight or into the middle of the enemy team as she's going to, use her assault and battery to get to a high priority target, like, on this team towards the Sivir. And or maybe towards the Ziggs on the enemy team. So having that durability is very helpful. Luckily, like I said, we're ahead and we have 3 kills now. We're going to be able to build towards the Trinity Force. So the first part of it that I'm actually going to pick up, I'm going to pick up the Phage because I like the health on it, and a little bit of damage is helpful. And what is really nice is that passive on the Phage, which is going to help, speed me up. So when I am ganking and I land those standard attacks, it's going to allow me to keep up with that target, keep standard attacking them, keep getting the passive, and it'll allow me to land more Ws or, more passive Ws on my denting blows to deal more damage that way. So there was actually a really good shield by Sivir to kind of negate the effect of my ultimate and the damage, but we're going to be able to turn this around and pick up a kill on Annie, or we won't. Caitlyn's actually going to snipe in on this and get it because I got exhausted, so that's fine. We'll go ahead and let Caitlyn pick that up. It'll help her out as the carry, and we'll go ahead and get the bottom turret as well. And if we rotate, we can take Dragon. No, we're not going to take Dragon. We'll just clear the ward at Dragon. That's what we'll do there. Now, as for your masteries, there's many choices you can actually do. Well, not many, but there's multiple choices you can take with Vi. If you want to build a little bit more damage, you want more offense because you have a tanky team, or if it's just the style you play, you can go with the 21-9. I actually usually go with the 9-21-0. We pick up a little bit more defense. The defense is just really, really strong on this champion, and that's what we're going to just focus on getting. So we don't have to worry about anything else at this moment. So we're kind of screwing with Ziggs. He's trying to shoo me away. I'm just kind of screwing with him. I want to see if I can get over to it and smite it. But it's, yeah, I am going to take it. Ha, I did steal it. So smite OP. But that's what we're going to do with your masteries. It's pretty simple. If you want to see those masteries, that would be my AD jungler page. You can see it on my Facebook page. Here, I'm going to get to a little bit of a fight. We assault battery him, but he actually goes over the wall at the same time. I flash at the same time. That Nidalee secures the kill with a spear. So, because I thought the spear would just hit the enemy camp, and somehow he was still standing closest to it, so it's actually going to kill him. So we pick up another assist there, and yeah, that's what is happening. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the items, since we're still working on, or not items, sorry, the runes, because we're still working on the Trinity Force, because it's a big item, and it's not cheap to buy. Actually, we can get to a little bit of a team fight. We're going to move in over here, and Annie's pretty easy to kill. And we're going to go ahead and use the Assault and Battery now to catch back up to her, which will then slam her down. We'll be able to kill her. And, it's a really easy gap closer, really. That ultimate just will always get to where you want to go. And so don't be afraid to use it, especially to get deep. Now, you just got to make sure your team is paying attention, because if you drag yourself too far away, then you're out in the middle of nowhere. And that's why that survivability with some tankier items will come into effect later on in the game. Another thing you have to be careful with is if you lock onto someone who is, I don't want to say teleporting away, but is able to flash closer to their team or do anything to get away, you are locked onto them and you will go with them. So if you lock onto someone, see he flashes and I go with him further forward, if Annie would have had a stun, he maybe would have been safe, but she didn't have one, and you will travel further with the champion. So if they're able to flash, you just got to look out for that. We're going to go ahead and cut some of the information out of this video because it is a very, very long game. We did finish the Trinity Force, and we do have a Giant's Belt and a Spectral's Cowl, I believe. We do have a little bit of magic resist there because we want some of that. We're going to be doing 2 items with these two parts of these items, at least. We're going to go ahead and lock back onto Ziggs. I miss him again as he gets away, but we're going to kill him, and now we're going to simply basically scare the Sivir away. She knows I have some damage with the Trinity Force, so we can duel pretty well with any of those carries, and it will scare them away quite easily because of it. But to those runes, what I usually take when I'm playing her is I go with the attack damage marks, I go with armor seals, I go with magic resist, per level glyphs, and then movement speed quintessences are really good for those ganks. Just that movement speed is very helpful for pretty much any jungler of any kind. It just makes ganks a little more successful, so, and chasing a little bit easier. And that's just, you know, kind of the setup we like to take. Now, let's go back and talk a little bit about these items and its progression. We have the Ancient Golem, we have the Ninja Tabi, we have the Trinity Force, as we talked about earlier. Now, what we did this game is a little bit different than what we normally would do, some would say, but we can talk about this. Sometimes there's choices you have to make. What I want to deal with against this team, usually I would build that magic resist into the Spirit Visage. But with an Annie stun on their team and a Ziggs, this allows me to avoid some stuns. Like, she didn't even stun me there. She had it up, but you can't do much to me. So this is going to help me negate a ton of damage. Now she's going to try to move back in and stun me, which she does after I move on to the Ziggs, because I want to focus him. He is the damage dealer on the enemy team. He has 15 kills. I can solo him easily, though, because the Trinity Force allows me with the damage, and I still have survivability with my items. We're going to continue to fight this as we go ahead and find this Sivir. We're going to chase her down next. We're just focusing the carries. This is Vi. She's good at chasing these down and dealing damage. We're going to be able to catch up to her after we flash, and then we do our charge towards her. And then we are going to go on a little bit of an expedition here, which we are going to get chased and slowed down and jumped at by the Zac and by Nasus. So what we're going to do is, luckily, with that Vault Breaker, you can use it and you can travel through walls. So it's kind of like a mini built-in flash. I mean, it doesn't flash, but you can make it through a lot of terrain with it, even thick terrain like what I'm next to, you can make it through. We need to keep giving ourselves some distance. I believe we are going to get slowed again, but we will use it one more time to get away from these two as they chase me around the map. But you can really, you know, get a lot of distance going on. And it goes down all the way to, I believe, an 8-second cooldown. So you have to wait a little bit to bring it back up. But we're able to get away safely, and now we can continue onward with the game, safe and sound, all safe back on our side of the map. So what we want to do, is, like I said, we usually would build that Spirit Visage, and it would be a good item. But like I said, we want the passive from Banshees because it's going to be helpful against this kind of team. They got a lot of poke. Maybe I can negate a Wither from Nasus. Just all types of stuff like that. So pretty helpful against this team. Obviously pick it if it's going to make more sense against whatever team comp you're against. So those are your two options. Spirit Visage would be nice because of its cooldown reduction and other reasons. It's just a good item. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and get probably to a little bit of a brawl here. See what happens. Leona ultimate. We're going to go ahead and move in. We're going to, once again, lock on and go for Ziggs. We are focusing the carry. He is going to die. We'll take a little bit of damage, but we're going to go ahead and chase down the support and the ADC. We're going to be able to charge and take out this Annie. She's going to give herself up, and Sivir will get away. And now we're going to try to duel the Nasus, but luckily the team is catching back up. I'm going to knock him, which will get us in range, and Leona will be able to hook him, and he will go nowhere as he will fall. So a lot of good teamwork there, and I'm just focusing down the carries, and our Leona is peeling for the Caitlyn and Nidalee, and that allows them to do their job in the back while I am currently chasing down their damage dealers. So very, very helpful, and it just works well. You know, it's Vi. You know, she's super good. She's top tier junglers right now. I hope she doesn't get nerfed. Anyways, continuing with the build, we went and we built the Omen next. Now, typically, if you were having that bad game or you were behind, I would bust out the Omen way before the Trinity Force. I'd go for the Omen Spirit Visage / Banshee's Veil, and then maybe a Trinity Force super late if you're finally tanky enough. But at that point, I don't want to say you negate the Trinity Force, but like you need this survivability as that tank. So it's a little bit harder to duel the carries on the enemy team, but you're better off for your team allowing them to try to pick up the kills because you're the one behind. So that's what I usually try to do. We're going to go ahead and just murder Ziggs. Just murder him. Just get rid of him. And you can do that at this point. We did pick up a little bit more damage. I actually have a Tiamat at this point in the game. We are going to be building that towards a Hydra. It helps with clearing, which you already don't have a problem with that, but we're pushing. Any more damage now is also stacking with the Trinity Force really, really well because of the sheen on it. And the damage is just going to be amplified, so we're not too worried about that. We do have Baron, too, so we have more damage there as well. And we're building more damage. I mean, worst case scenario, if you didn't want to go with the Tiamat and you just wanted to still be tanky, go for the GA. That's what you'd want. That's going to help you out with really everything. GA is just the other way to go. That's where I would take the build. But that's pretty much a full build for Vi. We are going to be able to end the game out right now in just a second after we continue screwing around, just killing them because it's minions OP. But that's the build. If you have any questions, you can put them down below in the comments. Obviously, don't forget to subscribe and like this video and check out other content if you have not. But other than that, that is going to be a build video for Vi. If you have any questions, like I said, put them down below, and I'll just see all of you guys in the next build video. Pick up a kill on the Renek K Ton, and now we'll put a pillar down, which will slow down Malzahar, which will allow us all to catch up to him, take a bite out of him, slow him down, and with the red buff we have, just even more slows.